So okay, let's try something a little fun. Then I'm gonna keep pressing you on this. Like,
Yeah.
given all of the summoners, which I know you don't play certain elements as much, but I'm assuming, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Given all these options that we currently have
Yep.
in a standard game, what are you reaching for?
Kitty first.
Kitty
Jotun
second.
Llama
third. Really?
Yes, it's good. I mean, it's good.
It's a good card. Okay. So what I'm trying to get at here is, when does a Chaos Legion Legendary Summoner enter the mix? Because the top three are already untamed.
Yep. I would still go with Mimosa next.
Okay, great card.
Right. Then I'm gonna reach for probably Wraith.
Okay.
Yasik, Possibilus, Chancius, Lear Deep Swimmer, Camila, and then Quicks.
Well, we can leave Camila and Quicks out, but that's fine. So what's interesting with Possibilis is it sucks because it doesn't impact all monsters, but when you compare it to someone like Lear Deep Swimmer, your analysis was spot on, right? Like it's reactive, so you're only playing it if you anticipate that the opponent is going to play some kind of ranged attack or like heavy ranged attack.
Yeah, when I play, right, so like if you look at Lear, -2 armor, right, that's good. But if your opponent does not playing a whole bunch of armor, it doesn't do anything, right?
Yeah.
If they're not using any ranged, right, that return fire not going to help you. The blind is good, right? But I typically wouldn't rely on my summoner to give me blind. There are so many other options for blind that doesn't need to come, and I don't believe it stacks, right? So there's no benefit in doubling down on that. So just have one of your monsters provide that.
Yeah, you know what? The more I think about Possibilus, like it's okay, because I was just throwing shade at Lear Deep Swimmer for being reactive or having some kind of limitations. Like the blind is fine actually for me. Like I think because it allows you then to not have to play a blind monster and fill it with something else, right? If you want to. But the fact that like this only impacts one type of enemy, like that's what I was throwing shade at. But then when you come to Possibilus, this is obviously only your team, but Possibilus really doesn't offer much in a no melee game, because like two of these are only for melee monsters.
Right. So that's the thing, though, right? What does Possibilus do? And I think it's named appropriately, right? It gives you options, right? If you're just playing Kelia and that's your only summoner, and then you get Possibilus, then you have options, right? I have Valnamor, I have Kelia. Now I have this one, right? Water was always one of my weaker, though it shouldn't have been. It was. Possibilus now gives me options. And one of the things I pay attention to, or try to pay more attention to, is how predictable am I becoming when I'm in a grind session, right? And so now I have more options, more tools in the toolkit that I can shake things up a little bit. I generally try to avoid playing the same summoner back to back.
True, yeah. Well, we don't have Splinter Spam anymore, but it would have been nice to be able to switch back and forth back when it was there. But I guess what's nice about this is here's another situation where Lux Vega once again comes in very handy, because and actually let me not throw it to Lux Vega. Kelia is still equally competent minus that 1 health, and you save the mana. So when it comes to your options for playing water, I think Kelia with a non-melee team is still relatively strong, and I still use it from time to time.
Yeah. But I mean, you wanted to throw shade on Lear Deep Swimmer. I'll tell you, when he shows up, I usually get my butt kicked.
You usually get what? Oh, your butt kicked.
Because I'm playing Jotun, right? And
yeah.
It just destroys me.
Sure. Yeah, no. I mean, the thing is, all of these summoners, I would say, are outside of Kitty, outside of Jotun and Llama, right? Because these And here's what's valuable about all of these, I would say, and actually even Chancius to a certain extent, but his thing just isn't there. But you look at Lear Deep Swimmer, you look at Mimosa Nightshade, you look at even like someone like Camila. These are all as you put it, reactive, when you're anticipating something that the opponent will play and you want to try and nerf it, right? Rather than just buffing your guys with insane abilities. True Strike here, Blast here, and +1, ranged. I mean, the thing is, +1 range. How many times have you used Jotun in a non-ranged game? A bunch of times, I'm sure, right? Because it's that isn't the value there. It's the blast going to all your monsters, and then obviously Llama with all the different self-heal monsters is kind of out of control. So last stand and cleanse.
Yeah.
So like these, like 1, 2, 3, it's going to be tough to beat because they're just OP in that sense. Again, and so I look at Possibilus, for example, and once again, this is very not situation specific, but it's definitely ability specific. So that does play into the situations, right?
And you have, like, again, the big thing I think on Possibilus is the trample, right?
Yeah.
That's the OP part of the card, right? So when Deep Lurker gets in there, kills something, and then it goes on to the next one, right? And gets a free hit in most cases.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of why is Chancius not better? Why is he not more loved? Because he's one of those where like all these things benefit your team, right?
Well, not necessarily, right? Chancius is a purely reactive card, like 100%, right?
Wait, how is it more reactive than Lear Deep Swimmer?
I'll tell you. Please. So repair only works if your armor's damaged, right? It doesn't do anything otherwise. Triage only does something if you're damaged, right? Resurrect only does something if you die. 100% react.
But the thing is, you're going to take damage, whether it's to armor, whether it's to backline, potentially, right? Like,
if you have it, sure.
And resurrect will be helpful. So I still think that Chancius is not as reactive as something like Lear Deep Swimmer. Like Lear Deep Swimmer, you would want to play if you don't have any other option. Then of course you're going to play him, and he's still decent. But you would really try to position him in a game where you can take advantage of this return fire, right? And then Mimosa Nightshade, I think, is one of the best cards for non-melee games, because it's like, I'm just going to nerf the two attacks that are coming in. You throw in Headwinds and another and Silence in there, and it's just, I mean, you can dominate with this card, which is so surprising because it's the bottom of the list in terms of value. But all the times that you delegated this to me, like way back, I loved using it. Now, okay, let's move on to the newer ones, right? So, actually, I still want to keep these up here for reference. I think one of the reasons why Grandmaster Wraith, well, actually, you know what? I maybe I take it back, like, because Grandmaster Wraith, yes, the Void Armor is very specific, and the Amplify needs to be planned for, right? You need to have some kind of Thorns, Return Fire, whatever. But it does, so this won't impact all of your monsters. It doesn't give that ability to all of them. Whereas like the +1 armor and the Void Armor do help. Yasik on the other, Yasik on the other hand, the +2 speed is going to help everybody.
Yep.
The Pierce is going to help everybody. I mean, it won't help magic monsters, but Pierce does work when you have like weak magic rule sets as well.
Yes.
It's the scatter shot that makes him so hit or miss, pun intended.
Yep. I mean, if you don't know what to do, you have no idea what your opponent's going to do. Yasik is perfect for that, right? Yeah. Just mix it up and just roll the dice.
I mean, Yasik is one of the ones that I like to reach for in a lot of those, like, not necessarily melee only, but if melee, melee can attack from anywhere. Because then you kind of render the scatter shot, inert, but the two abilities, along with some of those fire and neutral monsters, right, the +2 speed and the Pierce, can be powerful enough in many situations.
Yeah, I think it's a great card, right? Again, it really depends on the way that you play, like what your play style is.
Yeah.
And if you customize your deck for Yasik, then that's definitely for sure. And there's great cards, right? And there are great cheap cards that work very well.
Yeah. All right. Can we take a moment to catch up on the chat?